Hello and welcome to Jill Cameron Creations. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so y'all don't miss any of my videos and stuff that I have coming out. We're making a card for Maker Forte today, and we're going to be using a couple different stamp sets. Hey, it's Jill Cameron Creations here with Maker Forte today, and I am going to show you how to make this gorgeous card. Isn't that beautiful? Okay. So this is what we're using. We are going to be using the Jess Fransico designed stamp set. We have two of hers here designed especially for Maker Forte, and this is the Humbug set. Has these cute little lightning bugs in here. Isn't it cute? So we're going to do that, and we're going to use the snowflake background, and this is Sending Wishes stamp set. We're going to use some Copic colors, and I'll have them listed below. Some greens, a yellow and a blue, green, gray, and black, and a little bit of brown. We'll also need a little bit of silver glitter paper. This is the kind of glitter paper that doesn't come off. And then we're also going to need some blue ink because we're going to do some ink blending. I like the domed ink blenders from scrapbook.com, so I'll have those linked. We're also going to use a little bit of this red and green Christmas stickles. And last but not least, we will need our Maker Forte Kaleidoscope powder, and this is Pluto. Isn't that beautiful? So let's jump in. Start out by going ahead and ink blending our slimline panel. I have cut my cardstock down to 3 3/4 by 8 1/2. So I just took a sliver off of the end of a piece of card of 8 1/2 by 11 cardstock. And I'm going to ink blend this, and I'm going to go about 3/4 of the panel. So I'm starting out with my lightest color, and I'm going to ink blend all the way up into that midnight blue color from the scrapbook.com inks. Ink blending takes a little bit of patience, and I do recommend that you go back over it twice. And the reason for that is so that you can blend all the colors together and you have that layered look. Now, distress inks are really easy to layer, and they ink blend very well. Distress oxide inks blend amazingly well too. I had actually used this color combination to ink blend a card that I did for my stuff the other day, and just loved how brilliantly these colors showed up and how vibrant they were, and I really liked the color combination. And these are a set of 4 from scrapbook.com, and they're meant for, you know, a color collection kind of thing, so I really like that. And as you can see, I went from light to dark, and now I'm going to go back from dark to light so that I can get that really good blend in there, and my colors all just really mesh together really, really well. At the very end of this, I am going to actually use a little bit of pigment ink, white pigment ink, at the bottom of the blue so that it kind of fades out a little bit more. I'm going to take the blue down a little bit further, and I'm doing this super, super light. You can't really see it on camera. It is so light, but it is just barely blue there. And then I'm going to take some white pigment ink, and I'm just going to pounce it over that end right there so that it does blend out a little bit better. Now, as with most dye inks, and these are hybrid ink pads, but with most dye inks, they dry back quite a bit, meaning that they lighten a little bit as they dry. I got this panel of cardstock super wet with ink, so it does buckle quite a bit. And I'm going to set this aside to dry for a few minutes in between what all I'm doing. I pulled out the Maker Forte Kaleidoscope powders, and this is the new color called Pluto, and it matches perfectly. It is so pretty. And I'm just going to add a little bit of water here, and then I'm going to flick it onto my panel, and I use every bit of it. I used every single bit of it and flicked it all over my panel, and it is so pretty. It just adds this subtle, and it's hard to see on camera. You can see all the dots right here. As it dries, it's hard to kind of see in the blue area on camera, but in real life it is so sparkly and so pretty. It's just absolutely gorgeous. And I am going to flick that over here, and I'm going to set this panel aside to dry, and I am going to use a little bit of heat on it, and so it's going to buckle quite a bit. we'll get to how to unbuckle that in a few minutes. I am going to Copic color the large Christmas tree image from the Buy Humbug set, and it has a little lightning bugs all over it, and it's super cute. And I am going to stamp that twice. I am using Lawn Fawn Jet Black ink and my mini Misty here, so I could get really good. These have really bold lines on them on the images, so I wanted to make sure that they really stood out. And I'm going to grab my Copics and color with those. I have no idea how that mat got in there. I'm going to start with my darkest color, and I am going to do a shadow around absolutely everything and from the sides, so that it looks like the center of my tree is brighter than the outside edges of my tree. And I'm going to go ahead and play a little bit of Christmas music while I finish Copic coloring. Now that all of our Copic coloring is finished up, I'm gonna fussy cut this tree. It's really simple lines, and usually I'm not one for fussy cutting, but we're gonna go ahead and do that with this tree because it's, like I said, really simple lines. So I'm gonna grab my scissors. If you've never fussy cut anything, or you have a lot of trouble getting clean lines with your fussy cutting, hold your dominant hand, the one that you're holding the scissors with, hold it really still, meaning don't like use your wrist to turn in and out of the corners and things. Turn your paper more than you turn your hand with the scissors in it. Of course, you're gonna turn your hand with the scissors in it, but you need to move the paper with your left hand and move the paper more. Use your thumb and your forefinger on your non-dominant hand as kind of like a swivel, and your fussy cutting will be a whole lot better. So I just did that. Now with fussy cutting, you also have that white edge on your images. Just flip it over and use a water-based marker. I'm using a pigment marker, but use a that's water-based, to do the outline the edge right here, so that that white doesn't show up. It makes your images look more finished. Don't use an alcohol marker because it can bleed. It'll bleed into the image and it'll ruin it. So just don't do that. You can use any kind of white marker. This particular Zig marker I've had for a long time. They're still available. They're still made every day. This one, I've had it for years. I've literally had this marker for years and years and years and years. It's lasted that long. It's just now getting to the point where it's starting to look dry. But that's the only thing I use it for, because writing on the color on the edge of those paper will cut into the tips, the fibers of the nib on the marker. So that's the only thing I use it for. I don't use it for anything else. Now, I thought after I put the tree on there, and I was like, it still needs a little something. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp this background on here, and I'm going to use some white pigment ink, and I'm just going to have some snowflakes in the background. And the white pigment ink softens so much into that blue ink that it's so subtle and it's so pretty. It looks really bold when I take it off, but after it dries, oh, it looks so pretty. Now see how buckled my paper is because I heat set it. I'm going to put this in between two pieces of typing paper, and then I'm going to put it through my die cut machine. And I don't put a die or anything in it. I'm just running it through with my regular plates, and that does flatten it out quite a bit. Not completely, but does flatten it out quite a bit. And I'm going to put a lot of liquid glue on the back of this, and then I'm going to put it on my card front, and that takes care of it being buckled. It doesn't have like buckles in it or anything. It just takes care of all the buckles in it. I'm going to put my die plates back on top of it to hold it down for a second while I grab something else, and then we'll finish the card. I stamped this the first time, and I'm using the Bah Humbug sentiment from the stamp set, and I stamped it the first time in regular black ink, and I was like, no, I don't really like that. I wanted to clear heat emboss it. I want it to be shiny. And it just wasn't dark enough for me. So I went ahead and I stamped this in black pigment ink, and then I'm going to use clear embossing powder over it so that I can get that clear heat embossing that I want on it. If you don't have a black pigment ink, you can always stamp over top of a black ink with embossing ink. The Color Hive embossing ink would work perfect for that, and then do your clear embossing or a colored embossing powder over it. Be perfect for it. So I'm going to trim this out, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this to my Silhouette Picscan mat along with some silver glitter paper so that I can do the outline behind it, and I can do the shadow behind the Bah Humbug, and that way I can have that really stand out on my paper. So here's the silver paper that I'm going to use, and I'm going to put that on my Picscan mat and run that through my Silhouette Cameo. And I still have Silhouette Cameo 3, just to let y'all know what's going on with that. So there's the Picscan mat, and I'm just going to put that on there along with my silver glitter paper, take a picture of it and upload it to my software, and then die cut that out. So I've gotten that cut out now, and I'm going to use liquid adhesive to attach the sentiment to my glitter paper. Don't use dry adhesive to do that. It will come off, period. So you want to definitely use liquid adhesive. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to glue my tree down, and then I'm going to pop up the entirety of the sentiment over top of this. And then we're going to add some finishing touches to our tree and our little bugs. Our little lightning bugs need some glitter, and they have their little tails that are waddling through there. And I had some stickles that are in Christmas colors. And it's called Joyful is the color of the stickles, and I'm not sure that it's still made. I don't know, because you know, stickles go in and out of style and they change their color so often. So I linked to some red ones, but I don't know. So what I'm going to do is actually where the dotted lines are for the garland, where the little lightning bugs are following that little trail, I'm going to put little teeny tiny dots of that stickles on there, and it works so perfectly. It's so pretty. So don't forget to head over to Maker Forte so that you can get your stamp sets as the Bah Humbug and the Well Wishes stamp set before they're gone, because they are special edition, and make you some Christmas cards. They're so pretty. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and so you don't miss any of my videos for anything. And thank you so much for joining me today for our Maker Forte, and y'all have an amazing day. Thanks so much.